did want to speak about Maddison because obviously Leicester, torrid result for them. I mean, they look like they're probably heading down. It's so tight at the bottom. So nice that Newcastle aren't involved. But, you know, some of the critics of James Maddison point to his attitude and is he the right man to bring into the dressing room because maybe he's a little bit selfish, maybe he's a bit egotistical. But his comments after the game yesterday I thought were really refreshing. It was a really honest interview on the BBC about how Leicester lost to Fulham and saying that, you know, they're creating chances but they're not defending. And the journalist that he was speaking to obviously heard that, went on that line. So, you know, you're creating chances. The defense have got to stand up and make sure they're tight at the back. And James Maddison said, no, us as a team defensively. And I just thought, do you know what? If there are any questions over his attitude, over his character, that little clip actually shows that maybe the concerns aren't really valid because he could have quite easily thrown his teammates under the bus there. Look, I'm scoring goals. I'm creating chances. What are you doing in the back? You're always messing up. But no, as a team defensively, we're letting everyone down. And for me, I thought that was another kind of tick in the box to why maybe Newcastle should go after Maddison, because clearly on that interview alone, he's a team player, even when the cards are not in their favour.
Yeah, somebody asked me about James Maddison the other day and what my thoughts were about, you know, Newcastle potentially signing him, and they sort of said, oh, well, his attitude's not very good, is it? And I think they always harp back to that time where he got called up for England and he was spotted on the casino, said he was ill, whatever. But it's something that we mentioned before. He was heavily linked with Newcastle last summer, probably wanted the move. You know, Leicester priced Newcastle out of it. And there was no sulking. There was no poor run of form. Actually, he started the season in blistering form when Newcastle were still being linked with him. So, and yeah, those comments obviously after their defeat yesterday goes again to prove that I think he does probably have that attitude Eddie I was looking for. We've spoken a lot about this pod. Fans, you know, are sort of a little bit split as to whether he fits in the system. Some saying it's absolute no-brainer. There has been a lot of talk of him obviously preferring to move to London, but you know, if Newcastle United are playing Champions League football and Tottenham are playing Conference League football, then that might change his mind somewhat.
Johnny says Maddison doesn't fit our system. There's no way Eddie moves to play number 10. I was all up for Maddison, but realised it's just not going to happen. And if I'm not mistaken, was it last week? Kieran Trippier was asked about James Ward-Prowse, who's another man linked, and he joked that he'd be taking off set pieces.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, he says something like that. It's always going to get picked up and ran with. But I mean, it's interesting because we're talking about Newcastle signing a central midfield. Now, Maddison's not going to play there. Now, when you look at how well Almiron, how well Murphy have played, you know, St. Maximin before he picked up the injury was looking a little bit back on his form. Isaac obviously can play out there. You suspect that if Maddison doesn't play as a number 10, he will have to play out wide. Where does he fit?
I think he's already pretty much came out and said in the past, he's certainly told Brendan Rodgers that he didn't want to play down the right or down the left. I think he will want assurances about where he's going to play. Does he fit in the system? Maybe not, because he likes to play as a 10. Newcastle don't really do that. I'm sure he's versatile enough to move into one of those 8 positions that we see Willock and Longstaff occupy week in, week out. I'm sure he'd have no problem with that. But, you know, if Tottenham say, right, well, we'll give you a number 10 position and a lot more money, then, you know, who knows? It's going to be very interesting to see where he goes in the summer, because I think even if Leicester manage to stay up this season, I think he's a goner.
Harvey Barnes as well.
Yeah, very good player. Another one that splits opinion. I mean, he has done on this pod before in the comments. You know, depending on which Newcastle fan they speak to, they either love him or hate him. Me personally, I think he's a fantastic player. Really, really positive. Eye for goal. Very good at assisting. Good at dribbling. Would tick a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah, one to watch.